Hi everyone, my name is Ravi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is our lesson 4 on TRICENTIS Tosca Test Design Specialist Concepts. In this session, I'm going to teach you how to create a structure of attributes in test design concepts. I'm also going to cover some of the topics like test sheet, how to create attribute, and then what are all the different properties of the attribute related to business relevant, and how can you toggle between the business relevances of an attribute property. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. And also don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you. Okay, so before I proceed with this session topic, I would like to recap some of the concepts that I have covered in my previous video sessions related to automation specialist. So I would recommend you guys to please visit those videos so that it will be very easy for you to understand this session. So you can click on the link that is displaying on the screen to visit my channel. Okay, so here test case design section in Tosca. So what does this means? Okay, so in test case design section where you specify and design the test cases, you will later want to build in test case section. That means Tosca is having two separate sections. One is test case design section and the other one is test case section. So in test case design section, you are going to plan, specify and design your test cases so that you can use them later in test case section. Okay, so you can see test case design section on screen. How does it look like? And also the test sheet. So test sheet have a highest level components of the test case design section. And within these test sheets, you organize your test data and logical test structure. That means test sheet is a highest level of component of your test case design section, and you will be specifying your entire test data, and also you will be specifying your logical test structure. And each requirement of your application should be covered by a test sheet, and relevant test case required to test this requirement will be designed within this test sheet. So Tosca recommends to cover at least one test sheet for every requirement, and you have to specify the relevant test case and test data required to test this requirement and will be designed within the test sheet. Hope you understand the concept. Okay, so coming to the main topic of our session is attribute. So the functionality of your application generally depends on the behavior of various business objects. So the interaction with these business objects in your physical test cases should be mapped in test sheets using attributes. Okay, so you will be interacting with these business objects by using test sheets using attributes. Okay, and what does attributes mean? Attributes are the various characteristics of your application, or these are the representations of these business objects. Okay, for example, selecting a suitable credit card type is one attribute. That means credit card type is one attribute. Okay, that means either you can select Master credit card, or you can select Visa, or you can select Amex or Discover. Okay, so attribute here is a credit card type. What are the instances of this attribute? It's a Amex card, credit card, Visa card, MasterCard. So instances I'm not going to cover in this session. However, attribute I'm going to cover. So type of credit card is one attribute, which is a business object. Correct? So attributes are various characteristics of your application or representation of these business objects. Okay, and then attributes can be attached or attributes can be structured like requirements. So when you are actually creating attributes, you can follow the requirement structure. Every attribute can have sub attributes depending upon how you have chosen to design the test sheet. Okay, so basically you can create multiple attributes within the attribute, which are called as sub attributes. So that depends upon how you want to basically design your test sheet. Okay, hope you understand the basic concept of attribute. Okay, so I'm gonna cover some more theoretical concepts, and then immediately we are going to jump onto the system. I'm going to show you practically, I'm going to walk you through the Tosca application to prove all these theoretical topics. Stay tuned. Okay, so let me give some more examples of attribute. So like credit card type, size of your shoe, what is the color of toy, color of hair. So these are all the attributes which are called as business objects of your application. So these attributes drives your test case derivation. Okay, so each attribute has a defined attribute type property which can have two types. One is logical and the second one is physical. That means this is actually defined by Tosca. So Tosca has defined two properties for attribute. Okay, the property type is attribute type. The first attribute type is logical and the second one is a physical. So these are all not defined by user, but these are all defined by Tosca. So if an attribute has a sub attribute, then it's called as a logical attribute. If there is no sub attribute, then it is a physical attribute. That means if you are creating an attribute, for that particular attribute, if it is having a sub attribute, then the property of that sub attribute or property of that particular attribute is given as a logical attribute. Okay, if attribute does not have any sub attribute, then Tosca defines it as a physical attribute. Okay, and then Tosca recommends to create 4 logical attributes in every test sheet for structure. So what are those 4 attributes? That means, so whenever you create your attributes, first you have to create a parent 4 attributes. One is administration and the second one is precondition. Third one is a process attribute. Fourth one is verification attribute. So Tosca defines or recommends to create these 4 attributes within the test sheet before you create any other attributes. Okay, so once you create these 4 attributes, now you can start creating your business objects attributes related to your application. Okay, so what does these 4 attributes means? First one is administration. So here administration is the information about the test cases but not the actual test data. That means who is designing this test case and who is the contact person, etc. Okay, so basically you will be defining the attributes within the administrator attribute which are the information related to test case, but you are not going to define the actual test data in this attribute. Okay, and the second one is precondition attribute structure. So precondition attribute where you will be specifying your prerequisites of the test cases. So you are going to create attributes like login, user ID, login password, what is the URL. So all these kind of prerequisites will be stored under an attribute called precondition. And then process. So process attribute. So you will be defining actual. So this process attribute contains all of the test data that will be tested in these test cases. So that means this is your actual attribute, is a process attribute, and where you will be specifying the actual test data that you will want to cover as part of test cases. Okay, and what about verification? So verification attribute is a folder structure, or it's an attribute structure where you specify all data used for verification purpose. So let's example, if you want to verify an error message if username is not provided, you'll get one error message. If you want to verify an error message if password is not provided, if you want to verify an error message if the terms and condition is not checked. So all these error messages you'll be verifying, right? So all these attributes you can define them in your verification attribute. Hope you all understand the concepts of attribute defined by Tosca. Okay, so our next topic is property of an attribute called business relevant. Okay, so every attribute that you are defining in test sheet under test case design has a property called business relevant. So the first one is, if you are specifying the property of business relevant as yes, that means the attribute is a business relevant. So this is a default value that is actually provided by Tosca. So whenever you create an attribute, by default the business relevant will be yes. Okay, and then this affects the test case and should be considered by deciding which combination of data to be used in creating a test case. Okay, so that means whenever you create an attribute as a business relevant attribute, so that is actual test data that affects the data to be used for every test case. And this could be used for a precondition attribute or for process attribute. I explained you in my previous slide, right? So we have total 4 attributes. Precondition, process also part of it. So any business relevant yes, that means any attribute that you are creating as a business relevant attribute, so those you can specify in precondition or a process attributes. And what about the second one? If you specify the property of your business relevant as no for a particular attribute, then the attribute is not a business relevant. This means these are not relevant to the test cases being built and should not consider while combining your test data to the test cases. Okay, so this could be chosen for administrative attribute. If you see in my previous slide, I have explained 4 attributes, right? My first attribute is administration, where you have the information of the test cases but not the test data. So that's what here it is explaining. Okay, and coming to result. So if you select a business relevant property as a result, then the attribute contains a data to be used for verification in the test case. Okay, and this could be selected for verification attribute. Okay, so you understand, right? So let me again explain the result. Okay, so result attribute, basically whenever you create an attribute and then if you select the business relevant as result, that means the attribute contains data to be used for verification in the test cases, and this can be selected in verification attribute. As I told you in my previous slide, the last attribute is verification, right? So you can use these kind of attributes under verification attribute. If you see in the diagram, the first business relevant attribute is notated by red color, and the second one, which is not a business relevant attribute, notated in orange color, and then third one, which is a result business relevant, notated in green color. Hope you understand. These are all very important concepts while creating your attributes. So you have to decide what kind of business relevant I can use while creating my attribute. Okay, so now let me walk you through the actual Tosca application and show you how can we create a structure of attribute and how can we use these physical and logical attribute types, and then how can we use different types of attributes, which is business relevant attribute, which is not business relevant attribute, and which is a result attribute, which is a verification attribute. Okay, let me walk you through the Tosca tool with examples. So let's jump onto our system. Okay, so now let me walk you through the Tosca tool to cover all the theoretical topics whatever I discussed till now. Okay, so first of all, so once you open your Tosca tool, you have to basically go to the section called test case design. So as I told you in my theoretical class, there are two sections. One is test cases section separately. It has a test case design section. So test case design, where you will be designing and you will be defining the structure, and where you will be designing the test cases which you can use while creating actual test cases, right? So this whatever I explained you in my previous slides. So now once you navigate to your test case design, under test case design, you have to right click to create a new folder, or you just click on this folder and you can create a new folder from top ribbon. So you can use any one of these methods. Okay, so for now let me just click on create folder, and here this is my test sheet session 1 test sheet session 1. Okay, so under this let me create another folder, this time by using right click option and then create folder, and he'll say calculate shipping costs. Okay, so calculate shipping costs. So then you have to select this folder. Now you need to create a test sheet. So as I explained you in my session, the test sheet is an highest level component. Okay, test sheet an highest level component under test case design, correct? So that means this is your test case design folder. Under this, first you have to create a test sheet as an highest level component. Okay, for that there are two methods. Either you can right click on your folder and select test sheet, create test sheet option, or you need to select this folder and then click on create test sheet option. Okay, so here let me first select create test sheet, and here name this as calculate shipping costs. Okay, so once you create a test sheet, and then you need to define your attributes, right? So as I told you, first you have to create attribute under test sheets. How? So first you need to either, there are two methods. Either you need to right click and then click on create attribute, or you can just select this and then you can create attribute directly. Okay, so there are two methods. Because I have selected test sheet, by default this option changes to attribute. Okay, so let me just right click and create an attribute. So as I explained you earlier, you have to, Tosca recommends to create attribute structure like this, correct? So now let me just right click, create an attribute, administration, and then again this time click here and click another attribute called process. Okay, and then again another attribute precondition. Oh, sorry, let me delete this. Okay, let me create another one, precondition, So let me drag and place this after administration. Okay, precondition, and then you need to create process, and then another attribute called verification. Okay, so as I explained you in my during theoretical session, if you see here, my administration is showing the attribute type as physical, right? By default, Tosca selects any attribute which does not have any subfolder is selected as attribute type physical. If you see precondition, this is also physical. Let's say, let me just create test folder here. Let's say just test. So as soon as I create a test folder, if you see administration, now it is showing as logical because this attribute has a sub attribute called test. So that's the reason this administration attribute type is logical now. Okay, so now I've completed covering attribute type. If you see here, each attribute is defined an attribute type property, right? This is my attribute type property. These are all properties, right? And two types, logical and physical. So as I explained, if you do not have any sub attribute, then that is defined as physical. Okay, so once that is done, now I need to create some more sub attributes under administrator. So as I explained you, administration folder attribute is to define some information related to test cases, but not related to actual test data. Okay, so first of all, administration is not a business relevance because I am not using any test data related stuff or test data related attribute in this folder. So that's the reason I have to toggle my business relevance as no. If you see here, currently administrator is showing as business relevance as yes, but I need a business relevance as no because this is not a business relevant. Okay, so that's why I would like to change this administrator as no, business relevance as no. There are two methods. Either you can select business relevance as no from here, or you have another option called toggle. So here, if you see here, there is a toggle business relevance. Once I click on this, so it's toggle to results because it is in green color. Once I click on this again, now the business relevance is no. If you see, this is no, which is orange color. Again, if I toggle, it becomes business relevance yes. So this administration is not a business relevance. Done. What about precondition? Precondition is my business relevance. Process is my business relevance. What about verification? Verification is not business relevance. It's a result. Okay, I would like to verify the result. So that's the reason I would like to toggle this, toggle business relevance to result. Okay, as soon as I click on toggle, now it changes to result. Okay, so this is your primary structure that you have to create as recommended by Tosca. So under administrator, now I would like to create some attributes, okay, some more attributes like test designer. See, if you see under this attribute, it is creating the same type of attribute as a business relevance no. Okay, and again right click and create another business relevance, another attribute called contact person, and the other one is test stage. What is the test stage? And another one is comments. Okay, so these are related to information related to your test design members, what is your test design test stage, and any comments. Okay, and now I would like to create a precondition. So what is your precondition? Precondition is an attribute where you can store the information related to the precondition of your test case, like login, correct, password, or any customer details, etc., or address, all these things. So let me create a sub attribute, business relevance sub attribute. Okay, this is my, let me create customer is my attribute. Under customer I have two different attributes, sub attributes, like type of user, who is this customer, what type of user, and then what is the address of the customer. Okay, so these two. Let me create under process. I would like to create three sub attributes. Okay, one is ordered products. Especially this is your actual, what is this process? Process is your attribute where you will be storing the actual test data of your test cases, correct? So ordered products, and then checkout. So because see, if you see any web shop portal, let me open my web shop portal. Okay, where you generally, what you do, you order the products, and then you also checkout process. There is a checkout process. Once you order the products, you are going to check out. Once you check out, you are going to basically provide your payment method, right? So I would like to store the test data related to order products in this folder, and the test data related to checkout in this folder, and the test data related to payment method is in another folder, basically in another attribute, payment method. So under ordered products, I would like to add another folder called under ordered products. Let me add a product. Okay, let me quickly change the process of this one. Okay, delete this. Okay, under order products, I would like to basically make this as a child. Okay, I'm making this as child. Okay, I'm creating another folder called product. Okay, so let me do this way. Okay, so if you see here, under process, I have created one main folder called ordered products. Under ordered products, I would like to create one folder called product. Okay, and then another folder called checkout. Okay, so under product, I would like to create three additional attributes, sub attributes related to product, that is product type, article, and then what is the quantity of the product. So this is my test data related to product, and then under product I created this, and under checkout I would like to create two subfolders. One is billing address, because during checkout you will be providing the billing address, and also you're gonna provide shipping address. Right? Under shipping address, I have two another attributes. So shipping can be done by using your shipping address, or you can do in-store pickup also, right? So I would like to maintain the test data of that shipping address. Shipping address or in-store pickup, because I can select in-store pickup also. In-store pickup, right? And what about payment method? So payment method, I would like to introduce another sub attribute called credit card information. So under credit card information, I would like to add an attributes of all these credit cards like card type. So this is my basically attribute. Under card type you might have some other instances like Visa, Master, as I explained you, Amex. So whatever that you will be specifying as instances that I'm going to cover in next session. Okay, and then you will have card number, and then what is your expiry date, and another attribute expiration date. Because see, let's say you have multiple types of cards, then you are going to specify here, and you are going to specify expiration date for different cards. Okay, and what about another one, card code? Card code. So these are all my attributes under process. So basically process is actual folder where you will be storing your entire test data. Okay, where you will be storing the test data, right? So here I have created sub attributes. Under sub attributes I have created some more sub attributes, right? So now under verification, okay, let me create a subfolder under verification messages. Okay, and let me create another subfolder order details. Okay, so messages means, let's say, let me create another subfolder login. Okay, username failure message, another message password failure message. That means, so whenever I let me log out, so whenever I provide invalid username, it throws me invalid email address. In case if I provide invalid password, it throws me, if I provide invalid password, then it throws me invalid credentials, right? So I would like to capture those two messages or verify those two messages. That's why I'm storing the test data related to messages here. And under order details, so under order details, whenever you order any product, whenever you order the product, so let me just go here, let me add to cart. I have already explained you all these in my previous sessions, but still let me just show you checkout. So because once you order product, you will get a order details like what is the price of your order and all these things, right? That you need to verify. See, what is my subtotal, what is my shipping cost, what is my payment method cost, tax, what is my total $18. So this entire verification you have to do. So that's why I would like to verify my order details, like shipping cost details I would like to verify. That is my one attribute. And then what is my total price? Okay, what is my total price, shipping cost, what is my subtotal? So let me create another attribute called subtotal. Okay, so that means these are all the attributes that I am storing under result attribute called verification. Okay, where I'll be providing the instances. Here the test data related to all these attributes will be providing in the form of instances under these attributes. Okay, that I'm going to cover in next sessions. Okay, so by end of your entire test sheet creation, if you see, under a folder I have created a test sheet. Under test sheet I have created attribute structure as defined by Tosca, which is administration, precondition, process, verification. Under administration I have created separate attributes for the information related to test designer. And then under precondition I have created a multiple attributes related to the precondition of your test cases. Under process, I've created an attributes of business relevance. That means actually this is your business relevant business object, right? So any test data related to different business objects I've created here. And then under verification, I've created attributes related to your results, different messages and different verification points. Okay, so now I hope I have covered all the topics related to the theoretical topics, whatever I covered. Okay, so if you have any questions, please provide in comment box so that I can reply you guys. Okay, and hope you all understand this session, very important session. And then in the next session I'm also going to explain you guys how can we create instances and the test data, and then how can we map, or how can we map test data and these test sheets to the test cases, and then how can we create multiple instances of your test cases. Okay, hope you all understand the concepts. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos on Tosca concepts. Thank you.